Shai Gador.
Yeah.
So you've been dancing for what, 7 or 8 years? You were doing other styles before that, or is that how long you've been doing fusion?
Specifically with fusion, the reason why I actually started originally tribal fusion and belly dance was to strengthen my muscles when I was dancing salsa and bachata
Oh,
because usually
right.
after I held my partner, after a short time, I felt really weak and tired after just barely one partner. So,
Do you still do salsa and bachata?
well, unfortunately, also because of multiple reasons. One of the main reasons why I stopped, unfortunately, with dancing salsa and bachata was the different lockdowns. And at
Yeah.
some point, after all the lockdowns finally finished, by the time I came back to it, unfortunately, I could not progress my salsa and bachata sessions. A, because of the late hours the clubs were open of late, and second, because of lack of interest from partners.
Right.
So it's a bit pointless to dance with Casper because Casper is not exactly with the proper contra.
Yeah, you don't really need a partner for belly dance. Although I know that you've danced with other, I've seen performance with where you've performed with other people. So tell me about your style. It's not your typical fusion. It's got a very theatrical feel to it. So can you tell me how you found your style and what your inspirations are?
Well, I could say that my inspirations got scattered all over the place.
Right.
I would start with uh, Elizabeth Czar. She is my main teacher that she introduced me to Gothla UK and other branches. She also introduced me to Ariella
Yeah.
as well as Dude Mormont. I do apologize if I misspell the names. I swear some family names are so jawbreaking. I also recently started a short course with an acquaintance of ours, apparently, small
Oh.
world, with Rachel. Wait, now I cannot remember the family name. My brain is fried.
Your inspirations are sort of more on the kind of gothic fusion side of things. Yeah,
Mostly. A bit
yeah,
of everything. I admit that I kind of gave up when I kind of gave up on the hours and the commitment towards salsa and bachata. Um, I decided, I mean, it is a bit unusual. I thought, I do enjoy the non-mainstream stuff, so I may as well stick around with the bit of the belly dance, the tribal fusion, etc. So I've been with Elizabeth Czar mostly at this point for approximately 8 years, seven, eight
yeah.
years.
And how
And
is it over there as a male dancer? Like, are there many of you over there, or and how were you received in the local community?
being an introvert, I definitely prefer the small scale events. I do
Right.
not enjoy that large scale attention. So, I mean, with the close knit attention, I do enjoy and appreciate the feedback.
Yeah.
It can be a bit weird and a bit overwhelming when I'm surrounded by women mostly. So, especially when it comes to open stages, when you need to figure out, okay, not to make things awkward, to change my clothing and with everyone not being awkward about it, etc. We usually find a good common ground. Um, Other than that, I also started. I also got recommended to try another approach with another local close friend of Elizabeth. Her name is Mor Geffen, and the past 6, 7 years I built choreographies both with her and Elizabeth.
So do you dance with a troupe, or was that just for specific performances?
Most of my projects were solo.
Mm-hmm.
The last one was literally last moment improvised group idea.
All
It
right.
was really was some really weird coincidence and really weird timing. I think in the last one, Elizabeth also invited more, or at least her troop. So job breaking to say this. Basically, I was working with more on more introduced me to a music sample of something that she was doing with her group for a video clip they were working on. She asked me, what is my first impression when I hear the music? And I told her, to be honest, as odd as it may sound, the first thing came in mind was Adam and Eve. It felt very tropical, the whole
Wow.
snakes thing, you know. So we were kind of half joking about it a bit before the open stage kicked in. I mean, at some point during the brainstorming and building a part for me, we managed to squeeze some of Moore's advanced students to join me. We were kind of brainstorming and said, well, I mean, listen, if Elizabeth has room, maybe we can do a group project of sort.
Nice.
And they agreed to the challenge.
So how long did you have to practice?
Specifically, my solo, I mean, before I met the girls and before we even came up with that idea, we worked on that particular part, I think. I mean, when it was 1-on-1, I think 2-3 months.
Oh, that's not so bad. That's okay.
Yeah. And then
I've done ones where it's been like the night before in a hotel room.
Oh, God.
And before that we would send each other videos, and I would draw stick people. Like I would draw diagrams of the poses.
Oh God.
And then we had one night before the dance in a hotel room. And somehow it worked.
Well, that's some impressive last moment improvising in touch, or last moment preparation.
My stick men must have been very good drawings.
Well, in my case, admittedly, with the whole actual time to do it together after we brainstormed the idea, we shortened the music further and we altered it a bit.
Yeah.
I think we literally did the final rehearsals, I think 2 weeks before the show ended. One time at Moore's studio, and the other time during the same day of the open stage.
Yeah.
We had to make sure the music arrived. We had to make sure everything is lit, that the clothing doesn't fall off.
Yeah, that's important.
Which kind of did for me. It's like by the time I finally built an outfit with more, like 50% of it just literally fell off. It's like, well, screw you too, Murphy. And it was some really pretty stuff which was suitable. It also happened to me with my previous character on one of my solos. It's like, really, Murphy? Now?
So can you tell me about the costume, the white costume? It looks extremely theatrical. What is that? Like, I can't remember how to describe it, but you're wearing like a white jacket.
The lighting must have been really weird.
I don't know. I don't know which one. It looks almost like a cosplay costume. It's very theatrical.
I think I think I know which one. It was that really flashy jacket.
Yeah, what's that all about? Tell me about your costume for that. What was the piece?
Let's see. So we were kind of wanting to make something funny and ridiculous with, I mean, I was working with Elizabeth for a while. We were suffering from too many musical burns. And one of them was from Panic at the Disco.
Oh, wow.
So suffice to say, my own arrogance has almost been my undoing. It's like, I had the mental image that I can actually dance to it. I did not.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I totally know what you mean.
However, I underestimated the speed of the music and the rhythm. So basically, we were making something a bit comical and a bit dark, I suppose. It was a bit of an influence from Dude's works on I mean, I found Charleston a bit overwhelming, but I did strive for that inspiration.
I've done a 20s themed one as well. And yeah, I try to learn the steps properly. It's hard work. I think I emulated them well, but I probably didn't get them perfect. But I was watching tutorials, and my mom taught me how to do the Charleston when I was a little kid, but it was so long ago. So, and she taught me how to jive. Like she used to like doing jive dancing. So when I was little, that's what me and my mom used to get up and jive together. That was fun. But yeah, the Charleston, and I love the 20s look though. That's why I chose that at the time. I love the whole style of the 20s. It's gorgeous.
And I also got inspired from the goofiness, and as she likes to call it, the noodles from Viola Scrap.
Yeah, she's great. She's amazing.
Yes. Yeah, I also joined her recent online Roma tribal meeting on Zoom.
Oh, wow.
I wanted to go abroad, but considering the short time notice, I just couldn't join, and I was not really sure if I had enough vacation days this year. So thankfully, she had a hybrid workshop, so
nice.
It's a good consolation prize.
Oh, so definitely, because like if you can't make the event, at least you can still kind of like learn from the teachers. Oh, yeah. It's not the same as being at the event, but at least you get to still get the knowledge and all that. So do you get out to events in other places a lot at all, or do you mostly do them online, or do you travel a lot? Did you actually go to Gothla? Oh wait, I saw a picture of you and Ariella, so you must have gone to something.
Oh yeah, that was my first Gothla. That was, I think, on the frontal Gothla, this would be my second. Wow, I cannot believe it's already almost an year. Jeez Louise.
I did a private lesson with her. I think I was 28 or something. Yeah, I'm a lot older than that now. Yeah.
My first frontal Gothla would have been, I guess, a bit before the lockdown. That would have been 6 years ago, 7 years ago.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, that's a while ago now. And I haven't been to Gothla for years and years. I haven't been for a long time. I used to also run an event which was called Shangri-La, and it was we had burlesque and belly dance because it was made for non-belly dancers, like for people that don't dance. So I made it more theatrical and like with like a theme. So really it was a dance show in disguise. But I made it look like it wasn't. So that I could get normal people to come.
Yeah, normal is overrated.
Well, because I want not everybody wants to watch like 2 hours of belly dance. So yeah, I mean I would love that, but not everyone would. So I made it more like variety, you know. Yeah. But when I saw your performance, I was like, oh, you would have been great for that, like because your style is so theatrical. It would have been perfect for my show. I really miss doing it. It was oh god, it's been so long since I did it, like 10 years.
Well, I mean, you can always bring it back with your
maybe do like oh yeah. Maybe I could have like a one-off revival show or something, maybe. I'll think about it, maybe.
I mean, you can always, I mean, I know that some people, for the sake of convenience, I do know that Gothla been back to doing it a bit of hybrids. We were doing it the past few years where we were doing stuff on Zoom and YouTube. We would have sent our applications in advance.
Yeah.
So as for your question, being an introvert, I mean, I spend whatever energy most of the time at the office, and I do try to recharge in between. I mean, I can recharge easily when it's one-on-one with, let's say, more Elizabeth or whoever, but
Yeah.
to go to the clubs, it's not me because 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 by the time the clubs are open, it's when I'm going to need to crash because
Yeah.
it's work the next day. I cannot afford. And I mean, it is tempting to jump scare everyone to make me come over and look like a zombie, being sleep deprived. But yeah, health first, as
Yeah.
much as amusing as it may sound. Usually on the weekends, I try, when or if the muse kicks in, I try to feeling like the caveman that I am. I'm trying to get used to the idea of self-filming myself for whatever improvised dances.
Yeah. So tell me about where you are. Is there a dance community where you live, or do you have to travel somewhere to be part of a community? Like, because where I am in Barcelona, there's lots of dance events, but I can't afford to go to them.
As for your question, I believe they are, but they're probably off my radar. And again, because of my hours, I'm
Right.
not always in a fit shape to join, even if there is.
That's a
And
shame.
it's not that bad. I mean, like I said, it is a hobby for me, and most of them
Right.
are all those posh, high-end professional stuff. It's not my thing, and all again large crowd. It's like, no thanks, be gone. So I mean, that's a question you should ask Elizabeth. That's more her expertise, admittedly.
Right.
I would assume so. I guess it really depends on the niche. I mean, most of the clubs and most of the events, to my knowledge, are in definitely in Tel Aviv. You want to go
Right.
to
Of course.
something,
Yeah.
you want
Yeah.
to have bachata, whatever mainstream or non-mainstream stuff.
So you say it's a hobby, but I mean, we all started it with it as a hobby. Like we all began as a hobby, and then it grew. I never expected to become a teacher. So where do you see yourself though? Like, do you have any dance goals, like people that you want to train with, or do you is there like kind of a level you want to be at, or do you have any particular goals where you want to go with it, or are you just going to go with the flow?
Well, more like a go against the flow, but
Against the flow. Okay, I like it.
I guess it really see. It's something that time will have to tell. I mean, I do try to find the right balance to make sure it doesn't feel overwhelming either, because I
Yeah.
did have few cases that it felt like a second or a third job because I was
Oh, right.
overly
Okay.
focused, and it's like, okay, I'm starting to not enjoy this. I need a bit of a break.
For sure,
So
it can get like that. Yeah, yeah, it can. I mean, for me, it just became that way, and now it became my entire life. So it doesn't matter for me. I don't know. I just don't know anything else. But yeah, for sure, it can become like when if you're a musician in bands, if it stops being fun, then you don't want to do it anymore.
exactly.
You have to still enjoy it, even if it is work. I think it's important to always enjoy creativity. The minute it stops being fun, then the creative side of it isn't very fun anymore either.
As for where I see myself, I mean, I guess for the time being, I'm quite happy to contribute in small scale stuff. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't mind. I right now actually no pressure. Already another open stage is being brewing up by Elizabeth, bless her soul.
Nice.
So
So does she encourage you to dance? Is it or do you go willingly?
depending on the mood. A bit of both, really. I mean,
Because you
sometimes.
seem so on stage, you are like, I mean, the same for me. When you are on stage, you can't tell that somebody is introvert or extrovert. When you're on stage, you look so you know, you are confident and out there. So I would never have guessed that you're introverted, but I'm the same. Like but I'm more of both. So I'm an extroverted introvert. So but when I find that when I'm dancing, I'm only focusing on the movement. So I'm not thinking about the fact that there's a big crowd in front of me. I'm thinking about dancing, or I'm
Um,
thinking about the movement and stuff. So yeah.
so I got a few techniques from my lady friends. One of them is lots of breathing techniques while trying not to show it too visibly during when you perform. And I mean, I'm trying not to make it like sound like in a harsh way. I mean, I need to look into the audience, but also ignore them, like pretend that they're not there. But I do need the right focus and be focused on the rhythm, so I won't fluke my cues as much as I can.
So do you
And
always
well,
do choreography, or have you tried any you know, like fat chance or that kind of style where you have the cues and or do you always do choreography, or do you sometimes do you sometimes improv on the spot, or do you always need a plan?
I admit that with Gothla last year when I participated in open stage, I did have a small musical fluke. I had to improvise while knowing what I'm going to perform,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to keep poker face about
Sure.
it. I mean, I did take often with Elizabeth and sometimes Ariela, I think,
Mm-hmm.
improvisation sessions.
Yeah.
So don't think it, just do
Yeah.
it.
Just move to the music.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so there were cases that unfortunately the music did nothing to me, and there were cases it's like, oh, I can feel this music. I know I want to do.
Exactly. I think it's important to try to sometimes dance to music that you don't like, just to force yourself. But I totally
Yeah.
agree with you. Like if I'm choosing the music, I have to love it. Like otherwise I'm not gonna, I can't fake. I mean, I guess
Yeah,
I could
exactly.
fake it, but like I'd rather not. I'd rather love the music that I'm dancing to.
Well, I mean, sometimes there is chemistry with the music, and sometimes there isn't.
Yeah.
So sorry, sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't. So
Yeah.
depending on the choices. So especially with or the more cases that, again, as I stated before, that I underestimated the rhythm of the music, despite the fact that I really, really like it. Like the Panic at the Discos. What was it? It was a really short edited version of The Emperor's New Clothes.
Okay.
I grew on them. I grew on their insanity, their clips and all. So we were brainstorming with this together. Some parts I improvised and was inspired from Dude, from Viola. Some of them were just my own, came out of the blue type of idea.
Yeah.
It really differed. I can also give another example of something that required a built-up choreography that I contribute, as well as an improvised one. There was a very ambitious project by Valentina with her Requiem project. Bless her
Okay.
soul. But one heck of a challenge. I think we did it 2 years ago. I think we started it officially 2 years ago at this point.
Wow. Yeah.
So 2 years ago, I signed to her ambitious Requiem project. We were all, for about half a year, give or take, we were all working together on Zoom. I think we were
Wow.
approximately 40 or 50 people.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's crazy, yes.
Wow. Yeah.
So the first part was the fleshed out, doing it the whole raw choreography, the entire thing.
Right.
And then at some point she basically gave us Excel paragraphs, Excel graphs.
I know what you mean, like breaking down bit and giving you different parts, sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then the other half a year, I got help with Mo and Elizabeth, and they helped filming me while doing my segment. I think I have it floating around somewhere, the YouTube link. I think I can send it over afterwards if you
Cool.
fancy.
Okay.
So with the second ambitious project, which was even literally last moment. So after we finished that, basically we spent half a year on Zoom together to run the course, run the choreography, the music to the fullest, and then the other half a year, give or take, 4 or 5 months alone, each at our own pace with friends' help.
Yeah.
I mean, some managed to somehow self-picture themselves, which astonishes me. I have no idea how they did it. I mean, I don't think they use selfie stick, but I know that people were making fun of that idea as well, but I digress. So we met the deadlines on time. We sent our parts. And to my knowledge, sometimes last year, she did the whole mashup into
Edit it
YouTube.
all together. Wow. Okay.
Exactly. And
Wow.
the second last moment planning that she wanted to do Requiem is that each one of us will do their best to use her Karma Echoes and build a solo. And mind you, the official deadline for that part to add to that, your solo, was about a month away.
Right. Okay.
So I somehow in a month, I was ridiculously lucky to find the right clothing, the right atmosphere, and I built a solo with my own musical choice. And the same idea with the others. They all, I mean, we did not, I mean, the whole motif is Requiem, but we did not use specifically Requiem, but something that would remind of the whole Requiem motif. So basically, in addition to the whole group idea, group video, to make the show much longer and more interesting, each one of us contributed a solo in addition, or a group dance, depending on situation.
So let's say in a live performance, do you prefer dancing alone or do you prefer dancing with other people, or is it a bit of both?
A bit of both. I
Right.
mean, it really depends on the circumstances.
Yeah.
I mean, it all has its cons and pros. I mean, don't get me wrong, it is flattering if someone says, I really enjoyed just your dance. How about we dance together? It's
Yeah,
like, well,
absolutely.
definitely
Yeah.
flattering, but the main challenge is, when the hell we will find the time to do that together?
Absolutely, yeah.
That's the main obstacle and main disadvantage with that idea. And this is the current challenge that we are facing, because right now, basically, we are going for at least for the time being, my brain is not there for another idea. So, but in this particular case, I was willing to be swept with the flow, and we are hopefully going to do a triplet dance again. This time it's going
Okay.
to be Elizabeth, myself, and another lady friend.
Cool.
So right now I am being literally scattered all over the place. With Elizabeth, I am working on my duet within the triplet, and with More, I'm working on the solo.
Right.
And now I need to find the time with my lady friend to work our part. It's like,
And do you ever use props as well, or like swords or sticks or anything like that?
On occasion, it really depends on the character or alter ego that I go into, if you will. I think I performed with a sword 3 times, actually.
Yeah, I performed with a sword before I knew how to perform with a sword.
Yeah, likewise. Sounds about right. Like, okay, how am I supposed to hold this situation? Or how should I flail it?
I managed to wing it. I managed to get away with it.
It's just, for the most cases, I just had to try to find some really dramatic poses, dramatic movement. So I would say that, for example, with the whole idea of switching, it's also part of the challenge and thing to consider to make sure how much energy you can or are willing to spend on multiple performances or just a single one.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
This year for the recent open stage, I performed twice.
Okay.
And Elizabeth and her other lady friends, bless their soul, I think they performed 3 or 4 times. It's like, how the heck
Wow,
you have enough
that's
time to
a
do it?
lot.
And that's an
Yeah,
overkill.
yeah.
For me, it was an overkill to perform once, let alone twice.
Twice is enough for me. Like 3 or 4, I'm like, I would be too tired. Maybe like 2 solos and then 1 improvisation in a group, but definitely not like 4 different choreographies to remember. Like,
Well, I suspect they are extroverts if they have spare energy for that.
yeah, no, I don't have the energy for that at all.
Yeah, me neither. This year it was definitely 2 performances, and I had to. I mean, with that ridiculous silver golden shirt, which was the solo, and well, we on this particular show in both cases we had to be in complete poker face because we all suffered from a nasty cold wave that day.
Oh.
We were performing almost bare clothed or bare chested or bare minimum outfits, while it was a howling wind of 13, 14 Celsius.
Oh.
Yeah, and we kind of kept the whole poker face.
Well, you know, in England, that's not cold.
Well.
In England, 13, 14 is like everyone goes outside.
Well, you know, different culture and different adaptation to the situation.
I lived in Malaysia, which is always over 30. So, and now I'm in Spain. Although we have winter where I am, I'm in Barcelona, so we do have winter, but obviously in summer it's really hot. But yeah, going back to England, and I'm like, oh, it's summer, it will be warm, and then it's not.
Yeah,
or you have like a few days, you have like 2 days of sun, and then it rains, and I'm like, I don't even own a coat.
And regarding props, I mean, I guess again it really differs. There were times I used swords, sometimes like in the solo I used the chair.
Yes, I saw that. I was like, for a moment, I thought you were going to go into like a burlesque thing. I was like, what's going on here? This looks a bit saucy. I thought you were, I was like, he's doing a chair dance.
Well, I mean,
it was great.
Otherwise, it was very interesting to dance with the chair, definitely. Well, I tried not to be too saucy because because it did have a show with kids, so I had to show some self-restraint.
Yeah.
Okay, well, though admittedly, this was how we were building the choreography.
Yeah.
With the whole theatrics, with the whole sometimes to be literal, with the whole it feels good, tastes good. The whole exaggerated situation. Not necessarily to dance it per se, but had a bit of a flair of theatrics. And it really depends on the character, alter ego, whatever you wish to call it, that I want to go into. If it's something spicy and and silly, I'll do that style. If it's more dark, then I'll obviously choose a more dark fitting music. Or dark or something with that drama and intensity.
Yeah.
And the outfit would be accordingly, and character movement, and it sets myself in the right mood as well as the audience because they know to expect something different.
So since you came from originally doing other styles of dance, and then now gone into belly dance, what do your friends and family think of you being a male belly dancer?
They're quite amused and supportive by it.
Cool. Nice.
I mean, most of the baseline is indeed belly dance stuff. I do have some breathable belly dance yoga pants, if that's the right word.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Aladdin pants or whatever. I think that I do have now I just got recently now actually a very flexible hands from India.
Oh,
The
right.
style is, I'm not so sure if I would try Indian dance for too long. I mean, I
It's
got inspired
hard.
from,
Indian dance
yeah,
is so hard. It's so tough.
yeah,
Yeah,
it requires some really strong leg resistance there and leg balance.
really does. Yeah, it's really hard. Beautiful though. Yeah.
Beautiful, but intense and exhausting.
Oh
I
yeah,
think
absolutely. Yeah.
last year in my solo, I used some Indian dance influence
Yeah.
with a bit of sword flailing and other stuff. It was a bit of a mix of the musical influence was from ancient Mesopotamia,
Oh, cool.
but my dance movesets, ironically, was mostly from India.
Right.
Completely different continents and time zones, but it somehow blended together.
Bit of artistic allowance there.
I would say that the actual Mesopotamic music is really nice, but it can be really, I don't know if depressing is the right word. I mean, the lyrics can be a bit depressing. I mean, the whole epos of Gilgamesh and Enkidu and the likes. So that was my gig last year. I did a solo of portraying Gilgamesh,
Oh, okay.
which was different to say the least. So it involved some sword flailing. It involved some basic Indian dance movesets.
Cool.
Yeah,
That
it
sounds
was
interesting.
and exhausting. It was like, yeah, after this solo, I'm done. No more Indian dance. That stuff is overkill. Much like Charleston,
Oh, no more Charleston and no more Indian dance.
for the time being, anyway. Or if I am going back to one of them, it's just going to be that a single
Yeah.
dance. Yeah, that stuff is taxing.
Do you ever think you would host your own events, like in where you are, or would you consider doing that, like bringing people to where you are, or is there not enough call for it where you are?
Uh, I admit that's not something that crossed my mind. It's a good question. Maybe with enough practice, I mean, I might consider to consult Elizabeth about that.
Yeah, yeah.
It really depends on the motif and idea motif or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But for the time being, I'm quite enjoying to humbly contribute my parts when Elizabeth or more do an open stage or whatever.
And so
If it's
where does she host her open stages? Where does that take place?
usually literally open stage in the outdoors.
Oh,
Usually
okay.
usually outside her house or outside her mother's, depending
Cool.
on the situation.
Does she do that like a few times a year or once a year? How does it work?
Usually the cycle is approximately every 4 months, 5 months, it
Okay,
feels like.
cool. And like, is that just her students or other people as well?
Oh, other people as well.
Right. So it's like
Definitely.
basically a little show with people from,
Yeah.
yeah, cool. So I can
It's,
come.
I mean, if you're not too jet lagged by then yeah. I mean,
But I'll have to send you some stickmen to learn a dance so that we can dance together.
how's that saying goes? Beware what you wish for.
I know, right? I would love it.
Well, but basically, yeah, it's literally open stage. I mean,
Mm,
whoever, regardless of the mastery, anyone is welcome, and
mm.
it's not always much like your case. It does not have to be belly dance. It can be
Yeah. Okay,
definitely free for all type of thing.
cool.
I mean, the main motif, admittedly, is belly dance, but it's not always. The current motif is, I'm not so sure if I need to thank Elizabeth and her friend or to be annoyed at them or both. They infected me with a terrible earworm right now from Encanto's main song.
Oh, what's that?
And
You have
Enchanto.
you have to send it me.
Yeah, with pleasure. It may have. It was one of those movies that went off my radar, and it's like first I had to watch the movie to understand what they're coming from. It's like, okay, they infected me officially. So I was half annoyed, half amused with Elizabeth. It's like, oh, so this is what you want to use for open stage? Okay. So you have my thanks and annoyance for infecting me with this earworm now.
Nice.
So, so yeah, for the next 3 months, we are working on this particular earworm. I'll try not to infect him now. I'll fake infecting with the music in the end.
Well, I was walking through the subway earlier, the metro station, and somebody was singing a song. So that's in my head right now. So anything else would be great.
Again, careful what you wish for.
I know.
So this will be a typical hit. So this is the song. I don't know if it's considered the main song, but it is certainly the more popular song.
Right.
And I would say, to say the least, the earworm is stronger with Elizabeth because she knows the song by heart at this point.
Okay.
So she knows exactly where each one comes in and which one comes out.
That's good. That's good. You have knowing when you perform, knowing your song backwards, forwards, and everything else.
Oh yeah, it's a creative way.
It's a good way to learn. It's a good way to be able to improvise to a piece of music as well. If you just know the music inside out, like it's useful.
Mostly, it's going to be one of those more entertaining, wholesome type of dances rather than the dark and the dramatic. I mean, there is a bit of darkness in this song, admittedly, but I think it lands close to Halloween, so you know it goes well.
Okay. Nice.
Oh, I mean, it lands perfectly. It's jump scare fun. It's going to be funny and scary, so cool. It goes well.
So if someone wanted to find these events to go and either join or just to look at, like, where would they go? Does Elizabeth have a website, or is it mainly on Facebook?
To my knowledge, it's on Facebook. Usually she publishes there.
Okay,
but
I'll find the link and I'll add it. I'll add it so that people can find these events, and I'll add your. Do you mind if I add your Facebook as well, or is it private? Do you mind if I put that in the link, or I don't know if you.
It's not private, but I'm not entirely too active there.
Okay.
I mean, you know, on and off, but yeah, sure.
So if people want to find you, they can go to there, and if they want you to perform or anything like that, then they can hit you up on Facebook, I guess. Yeah. Well, you might not say yes, but
or at least I mean, I did not check Elizabeth's website for a long time, but I do know that she has a website that should keep updates and tabs about open stages as well. I'm not so sure I admit if I'm the right in between person. But I can try every so often. But yeah, basically, if there's enough time in advance, anyone with any dancing experience of sort, if he or she wants to contribute something different.
Yeah.
Or something similar, but with a small flair of a twist. Yeah, she's always happy to add something.
Cool.
Whether it's swordplay, whether it's, I don't know, salsa, whatever.
Chair dancing.
Dancing. Well, actually, she does the burlesque chair dancing quite well, thanks to Jude and Ariella and such. But yeah. That's my thing. I don't think I have the right heels for that.
Why not? I think you would be great.
I'm both flattered and not sure how to reply to that. I'll keep that in mind.
We want to see that next. Then you'll definitely give everybody a jump scare.
Again, be what you wish for.
Yeah, totally. Well, thank you so much for talking to me. It's really nice to meet you, and
thanks for having me.
No worries. And what day is it now? Oh, okay, it's only Tuesday. So enjoy the rest of your week, and take care, and hopefully we'll get to dance together at some point.
Again, careful what you wish for.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Beatrice.
Bye.
Thanks for having me.
No worries. Bye bye.